so much. Thanks for calling. And let's face it, you've got friends on Facebook. And I'll tell you what, I kind of wanted to talk today about some of the things that everybody seems to be experiencing in their talk. Today, joining the show, I've got John Huff. He's here to share some fun times, some stories, and what it's like to be a comedian. John, thank you so much for joining us today. We have a lot to cover.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. But first, let's take a moment to talk about Coca's Pizza.
Attention all football fans. If you can't see your team play, come and dine with us and watch it live at Boardman, Canfield, or Cortland. Or staying at home, we'll deliver right to your door. That's Coca's Pizza. We serve it hot.
All right, Coca's Pizza. I love their pizza. And it's not just because they're here with us today. You've got the Coca shirt on. Can't get any better than that today. But yeah, I mean, their pizza is amazing. You can watch the games inside Coca's as well. So you've got to love that as well.
Yeah, the food is amazing too. And,
it is.
Steve Coca and the owners, they're good people too to work for.
Very good people. Very good people. So thank you, Steve. And thank you, John, once again for being here today. And, you know, we've got a big show coming up tomorrow. It's our first comedian show that we're doing here, or comic show, or stand-up, or whatever you want to call it. I've actually got a chance to talk with a few of the guys that are coming here tomorrow, and it's going to be a great crew.
Oh yeah, we got some nice comics lined up. I don't know if you've ever seen them yet, but I got a couple guys from the area coming through. I know I have my friend Will Hopkins. He's on the show. He's from Warren. He's going to be here, and Paul Martin, Uncle Butter, he'll be here. He's coming down from Kitten. Very hilarious. And we got a couple other comics from different cities coming down. And it's going to be about an hour we're going to give you.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good time.
It's going to be a good time.
Is this your first comedy show, or you've been to other comedy shows before?
I've been to other comedy shows. I've been to the Funny Farm comedy shows way back when. So, and I know you were part of that. You were part of all of that. So.
Oh, yeah, I've done the Funny Farm multiple times. I've done that. We got another comedy club out here. I do out there at Mojo's.
Okay.
I've done the Cellar, and I've done random venues out here in the Youngstown area.
Okay.
And your area too, Warren. I've done a lot of venues out there as well.
So you got around.
Yeah, I've been around.
I think that's a good thing. No, I know it's a good thing. And I have to ask, and this has always been an ongoing question in my mind. People can be funny, people can crack a joke, and people can say a delivery of a joke, but how do you know, what do you take life's lessons and you flip them around and make it funny, or do you guys sit there in a room and get like a writer's block at times, or what makes a comedian a comedian? How do you put your show together, I guess, in other words? Where do you find your material?
I think a lot of comedians, I think it varies. I think it's a lot to do with our life experience, like what you go through growing up or what you go through on a daily basis. You know, a lot of stuff I don't catch writer's block, but I think a lot of my material comes from I think randomly, because I'm one of those type of people where I can make funny out of anything.
Yeah.
Even that couch right there, I can actually just mentally come up with something funny about that couch. My mind is just kind of weird like that sometimes, but
it's a positive mind.
Yeah, it's a positive
mind. Okay, that's what I always wondered, whether it's just something maybe you've seen on TV, or maybe it's a life experience, or
life experience. It's well, I know with writer's block. Before I got into comedy, I remember I tried to pursue being a rapper too.
Yeah?
Yeah, I used to. Well, I tried that. That didn't work out too well.
I was going to say, how'd that work for you?
But I remember I used to catch writer's block with that. I don't know, I kind of struggled with that, but then it's like comedy is so different because you could just add so much to it. Especially when you're rehearsing, because I rehearse a lot of my jokes too.
Do you?
Yeah, and I always come up with funny stuff every minute, how I could put this together, or I could throw this in there.
Do you stand in front of a mirror and watch yourself and watch your movements and watch?
When I first started doing comedy, I used to do that. But now I don't use a mirror no more. I just be in my room and I just read off my paper. I'll shut the door and turn the lights off, and I just kind
Was
of
it
like go from there.
always a dream of yours?
Kind of, sort of.
Kind of, sort of?
Because the way I started, like, I know growing up, like, I was always into, like, entertainment. So I grew up always wanting to be, like, you know, the actor, director type. You know, when I was younger, I was a big fan of, like, Wesley Snipes and Denzel Washington. And I always said, I want to be like these cats that, like, they're good actors. So when I got older, that's what I wanted to pursue. I remember I was so deep into movies. Then I remember I wanted to be a director too. So I remember I went to YSU and I signed up for performing arts, and that was like my original
Your
goal.
passion, yeah.
And then I've always been like funny, like around my friends too. But then you know how you get like signs and people telling you, man, you should do stand up. You're funny. You're funny. You're funny. I'm like, I'm funny around y'all, but
Could I carry it in front of 400 people? I
yeah,
don't
400
know.
people that strangers like, I don't know, man. Mm-hmm. And I always did. I was always a fan of stand-up comedy. One of the first stand-ups I remember watching, I used to have to sneak and watch a lot of these stand-ups because my mother wouldn't allow it.
No?
I know one. I remember watching one. It was Martin Lawrence. She's so crazy, and I remember watching that. I was like, wow. And
I want to be like him.
I was like a little dumbfounded by the language too. And I'm like, it's so amazing though. Mm-hmm. And I remember watching. My mother had a Red Fox tape. Mm-hmm. And everybody knows.
Everybody knows Red Fox, yeah.
I didn't know how explicit he was because I used to watch the reruns of Sanford or Son with my mother.
Uh-huh.
And my mother had this, she had this Red Fox stand-up tape. I said, Mom, watch. She said, no, you cannot watch Red Fox. I was like 10 or 11. And then she went to work one day and I snuck and watched it.
And you learned a whole new life, didn't you?
I said, I didn't know.
I didn't know what my mom didn't want me to see.
So that's how much of a fan I am, to like just of comedy. You know, I used to take risks watching it because I could have got. If my mother would have found out, I would have got killed.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Well, that brings me to my next question. So you went to school. You went to YSU, right?
Yes, I went to.
And you really thought you were going to go into acting.
Yeah.
So is that what a comedian, first you start comedian and then you want to move on into a career? Is that what the goal is with a comedian, to get into acting but get into funny roles then, or?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's like a money thing, you know.
Mm-hmm. Who doesn't love money, right?
Like you see a lot of comedians like, you know, converted over to acting. Like even you know, Tom Hanks. You know, he started out as a stand-up comedian.
I think I read that somewhere.
And
I do
then once he
think
started
so.
doing movies, he kind of, I guess they were paying him way more, so I guess he kind of
Put that to the side.
Even people like even Eddie Murphy, like he started doing movies, and I mean he ain't did a stand up since.
No.
People like that, I don't know. Him and a lot of other comics. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you know, a lot of people, even with, like rappers, you know, they do the same thing. Like Will Smith,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like they converted over, started making more money, and then I guess they kind of like kept that number one. You know, I think with show business, money talks. So.
Oh, it sure does. Money talks anywhere.
So I think that's the key right there. Like,
That's
you know,
right.
Like, I mean, stand-up pays good too, but when you find something like similar in that field that's paying more, you kind of want to.
You want to lean that way. You sure do.
But you don't want to. I don't want to give up stand-up either. But they would just have to. I don't know if they need to just pay me more.
Show me the money, right? So let me ask you this. Robin Williams, who's an amazing man,
Oh yeah, I was a big fan of Robin.
a very, very talented individual. I don't think we'll see another quite like him for a long time.
I was a fan of all his movies too.
Oh, yeah.
Miss Doubtfire, Jack, Peter Pan. I grew up off all those movies.
Oh, he was amazing. But he also had another side to him. Yeah, depression. Depression sets in. And I'm sure depression probably sets in on some comedians, especially if times are, slow. Because like this COVID, this had to be tough on you guys. I mean, you weren't out anywhere. You guys weren't doing things. Bills are piling up. How would somebody get through something like that, do a flip switch and make a funny out of it?
I think with that is, with the depression, I think people will go through that.
Every day.
It seems like it's like a mental type thing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I think that's like something that like a psychiatrist type thing that you should go. I don't know. I can't really explain it because people like, Richard Pryor. He went through a lot of depression too.
Yes,
you
he
could
did.
hear it
Yes, he
like
did.
on his stand-ups, but what he did though, he was a genius. He just took
Mm-hmm.
it, flipped it,
Yep.
and made it super funny.
Yep.
And that was some of his best material.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I always enjoyed his stand-ups too.
But I'll tell you what, I think to take everyday life and some of the struggles that you go through and to make it funny, that's a God-given talent. I mean, that's a gift. And you guys seem to do it. You guys go on the stage and you put your best foot forward and...
Yeah, with depression also, you don't want to take that on stage. I know a lot of comics have done that I've had one comic, he was so depressed about his I guess his father just passed away, and he like broke down on stage and walked off. And, like,
Oh,
I understood where he was coming from. But
Sure.
bro, this ain't the place for that. You gotta,
Right.
You gotta separate that from the stage.
right.
Well, as far as depression go, I can't. I mean, I dealt with it a little bit in the past, but I'm good now. But I can't really speak on it because it just seems like it's more of a mental immune thing.
And you get through it. And
Yeah.
you find your way and you get through it. And I think a lot of comedians nowadays, and I know we need this so much now more than ever, is just a positive, funny, a positive note. And we're gonna have a positive show tomorrow. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Definitely, it's something different too. I think with a lot of comics, like you mentioned about them being depressed by this COVID, but I think they found ways to kind of still do comedy by doing like Zoom in shows or doing comedy at the house or doing comedy in the backyard. I think that helps with that.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think people at home can relate as well. So if we can make a little funny out of it and cheer people up, and everything will be,
Definitely, because I still look at it like a lot of comics say they don't want to come out in this, but
that's why we did it a little different.
Yeah, but I consider it essential. Mm-hmm. Like you still go to your 9 to 5 every day. Why can't you? What stop you from getting on stage?
Right.
That's how I'm looking at it.
Right.
And a lot of comics think differently. Like, no, I ain't coming out in this, but you still go to work, right? And you're still dealing with people, so it's different.
And I think tomorrow is going to be, we're putting a different spin on it. In fact, you guys, you see your stage. Everything's going to be...
Oh, the stage is nice. I like that.
I knew that you would. And I'll tell you what, Town and Country in Newcastle, we're going to be simulcasting it over there. So if you want to go out, you want to grab a bite to eat, you want to see some comedy, you have to be here, of course, so you can't go. But if you guys want to get a bite to eat, of course, hang out to Town Country. Support them. Support the
great place,
comedians,
too.
support the food, support the owner.
Yeah, the owner is a really nice guy. His name is
Tony.
Tony
Carbone, yes.
Yeah, I like him a lot.
Yes.
That's a great venue.
It is a nice place, and he's just redone the place. So it's a great place to go. And I'll tell you what, tomorrow with some of these comedians, let's talk about them for a little bit. Uncle Butter. Tell me about Uncle Butter.
Uncle Butter is very funny. He's from Canton.
Uh-huh.
He's an older guy, but he's been doing stand-up. He mostly do shows in the Canton, Akron area. Mm-hmm. But he's very, very hilarious. Older guy. He touches a lot of topics. He reminds me of like a lot of like the real funny uncle at the family reunion.
Oh, okay.
That's who he is. If you ever
He's
seen
my
him.
funny uncle. Okay.
I think that's how that name came about with the uncle. And we just put I think the butter in there because because he's real smooth too at the same time.
Smooth too. Okay. And then we have Tony Snodgrass is coming in tomorrow.
Tyler.
Tyler. I said Tony. It's Tyler Snodgrass. Okay.
Yeah, I just worked with him at Latonia last week. He's a very funny comic. We just met, and Will Hopkins is on the show he's out in Warren, but he's originally from Cleveland. He'll be here.
Okay.
And one guy, I think he's from Akron too, Evan Cackley. Is that his name?
It's a long name. I put a very long name there. So yes, Evan.
Yeah, I worked with him at the Funny Forum, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Funny guy. And Steve Anderson from Youngstown, he'll be here.
And then Michael Copenhaver.
Yep, he's on the show too. He's from your area, Warren.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's very funny too. I think he just started stand up about a year or two ago.
Really? I've seen a couple of his clips. I've seen his website. It's very nice, very nicely done.
Yeah,
So
he's hilarious. Though. He's a good one. He's actually he's going to be on the 25th one too.
right. So we're putting two shows together actually. So we'll do this one tomorrow, and this one starts at 7:00. You can find it here at Youngstown Studio, right here on Facebook. And like I said, Town and Country is going to be having it simulcasted out there as well. It's going to be interesting because we've brought so many comedians here, and we get to see a good, 10, 15 minutes of what they've got to show us.
Mm-hmm.
So in that 10, 15 minutes, is this just going to be the highlights, or are we going to be able to, what do we expect out of the show tomorrow?
I would say expect it's going to be PG-13.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to expect mild language. We're not going to be too, most comedy shows you go to, especially myself sometimes, I kind of go in and I may kind of spaz out a little bit when I'm on stage. But yeah, I think it would be just, since it's PG-13, it'll be more professional than anything.
And the
Not
nice,
too harsh.
no, and the nice thing about it is it can be watched with the family. So if the family wants to go to get some takeout, or if they're not going to go out, out somewhere to watch it, you can always sit at home with the family and watch the comedians and support the comedians that way as well. So they can find it on Zoom, and they can actually be part of the audience as well, and they can cackle you guys, and you guys are going to be able to talk back and forth as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I really thank you for doing that for us too.
It's Joe.
Oh,
Joe, you did it. Joe does everything. Joe does everything.
Thank both of you.
And Joe,
Both of you.
Joe, there's actually, we were doing a GoFundMe. Do
Yeah.
you want to talk about that as well? Give us a little bit of info on that.
let me crowd
Come
you
on
real
over
quick.
here, Joe.
All right, so there's a couple ways that you can do this. We will have donations that are going on all show long. You'll see on the screen as the tips and donations come along, it'll fill a tip jar, and that link will be available both on the Facebook side and the YouTube side. Also, we have a GoFundMe account. You can find Youngstown Studio, find the event, and then make a donation. Now, the entertainers will split 60% of whatever comes in both through GoFundMe and the donation. So we want to make sure that all of our entertainers get highly compensated. We want to really push the boundaries on what these entertainers can make, because what they're not able to do right now because of COVID. We want to try and help make up the difference. So
That is so, and of course, Joe put that together. So what do you think about that?
That's awesome.
See?
That's really good-hearted of him too to do that.
Joe's a good-hearted guy. We got it. We love Joe. Joe knows best. Joe knows everything. Who don't know Joe? But anyhow, yeah, that's what we're trying to do. So tomorrow, while you are watching the show, and is it only going to start at 7:00, the GoFundMe, or can they even start now?
They can do it right now.
You guys can start right now. So if you want to spend a $5, $10, $20 bill, stick it in there, and we'll be splitting it up amongst the comedians here. So that's kind of our way to contribute to raising some cash for you guys as well. I mean, COVID's knocked everybody out. Let's face it. It's been tough. It's been a tough time. So I guess we'll open the phones up to the audience, and we'll ask the audience if there's any questions really that they want to ask you, being a comedian, or what to expect for tomorrow. Or maybe somebody is just breaking into the field and they want to know what to expect or what not to expect, or, is it all lights, camera, action type thing. So I'll open up this phone lines, 330-595-1600. That's 330-595-1600. Give us a call. You can talk to John and pick John's brain, ask John away some questions. So, John, I guess the next question that I have on the agenda here, is there, how do I put this? Is there a comedian hall of fame that you guys want to end? What is the start out and the end process being a comedian? I guess movies would be the first one, or is there some type of, when you know that you've made it, let's just put it that way, when you know you succeeded into being a comedian?
I would say the goal is, I ain't gonna say just money, but
Right.
I think in the long run, yeah, you definitely. Cause right now I'm in a good stage of my career, but in the long run, I want to start going to different states. Kind of be national.
Going on tour?
Yeah, that would be one of the goals. And then link up with some agents and get some movies going.
Have you been in a movie before?
I've done a few local films.
Have you?
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
I've done some cameo scenes. I did one last year. It was called The Worst Christmas Ever.
Okay.
The guy,
And what was your role?
I played a police officer.
I could see that. I could see
You
that.
see that?
I could see that.
We filmed the movie, I think, like right around the corner from here. And I did another movie. We filmed it down here too. It was called Apathetic Epidermic or something like that. I had
Okay.
a small scene in that movie.
And what did you do on that?
I was just a random guy, like on the street. I had to run from the police because I thought they were chasing me.
And were they?
No, they was actually. My friend was the one that got me to role in the movie. His name is Let's Go There. He's a comedian too.
Okay.
The police. He's in the movie, and the police was chasing him. And then he like ran past me, and then I started running too.
It was an action shot,
Yeah.
right?
I was just told you got to run too, because the police. We had actually like real police officers playing the police scenes, and they rolled up. So I kind of had to. They said, "John, you got to like run for real."
Gotcha. So I guess being a comedian, there's also other side jobs as well that you could do. I mean, besides doing the acting, you kind of have to keep yourself. Do you sing? I mean, do you keep yourself open for different things? Well, I guess you were doing some rapping at one point.
Oh, I don't do music at all.
You don't do music at all? No? Bad running with that, right?
No, that's just not my field. Like I tried it, but
Wasn't what you wanted to
it
do.
just didn't work out too well.
No. And I guess comedians, they run in your family. I mean, your uncle is a comedian as well. So
Yeah.
did maybe it rub off from him, you being a comedian, or what
Yeah.
happened there?
Yeah, my whole family honestly are comedians because everybody in my family is funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, my grandmother, God rest her soul, she was very funny too. So I think that just pass it down. And everybody tells me my grandfather died when I was 3, and everybody started telling me how funny he was. And then my Uncle Greg, they said he's like how my Uncle Greg is real funny too, especially like at like our events. He's always kind of like the life of the party, always cracking jokes. And everybody said that's what he got from his father. So,
Okay.
and I guess like the next generation came, I think it came from me.
Okay.
So it just passed down. Well, everybody in our family are comedians.
Did they go on the road? I know your uncle.
Yeah,
Your
my
uncle
uncle,
still is.
Yeah, he does. He still does his shows here and there. But he was. I know he started like in the '80s and like the early '90s. That was that's like back when he was like in his 20s, I believe. He still does it, but I think he just kind of chilled out with it for a little bit, just do it here and there. Like more for fun.
Gotcha. Now, let me ask you this. When you're up on stage and you got a really rough crowd, do you feed better off of a crowd that's heckling you? Or what does it take for a comedian to be his ultimate best? Is it heckling, or is it one person in the crowd that you're feeding off of? Or
That varies.
what drives you?
That varies because I've done some really, really rough crowds to the point where it's like, I gotta get
It's like,
out of here.
yeah, let's cut this early.
I dealt with hecklers too. Like I think hecklers, they used to bother me, but at a certain point in time, they don't really bother me no more because honestly, I can destroy a heckler.
Yeah?
I made a few people walk out.
Did you really?
Yeah. Once you've been doing this for so long, though,
They don't mess
bother
with
me.
you.
Yeah. I mean, they'll say something, and then I'm the one with the mic, so you can't beat me if I'm the one with the mic. I'm the loudest voice in the room.
Gotcha. Mic drop.
But
So-
I've had crowds that just like, I know the jokes are funny because usually when I do a crowd, I always go for what I know. I always go for the jokes that I know, that I've done before that I know that are funny. Mm-hmm. So when I do it, when I do crowds like that, I always try to go for my A-game jokes.
Okay.
If they don't laugh, it's just like, oh, it's like, I don't know what to do.
And it's all in a delivery, right?
Yeah, or I just think some people just be, I don't know if they just bitter before they come there or.
Or something happened along the way before they got there at the show, and then they're taking it out on the comedian on the stage, right?
I bet a lot of people probably just come, to like, I don't know if they just come just to be there or just to come just to heckle. Because I know a lot of people are like that. They'll just come to a comedy show just to heckle comics. Mm-hmm. Some will probably end up getting their feelings hurt too.
Yeah, I imagine. I mean, it's hard to get up on stage in front of people that you don't know and do a skit. And basically, you know, you're doing acting. You're in a skit. You're doing your joke, and somebody's trying to ruin it for you. So, I guess that would be hard to take. I mean, how do you do that?
I don't know. I just, you know, a job's got to be done regardless. Especially, you know, if they're paying me. I mean, I've done shows where I've had rough crowds, and I've had shows where it was like maybe like 3 or 4 people in the audience. So you still just gotta, you know, do what you gotta do.
The show must go on.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. You have such a wide array of comedians. I got to see that firsthand when we were putting the shows together. How do you know all these people? Is there like an outreach or an outpouring of comedians, or do you guys all stay together in a group? Do you put shows together? How does it all come about? It's very interesting the way you put the show together, I got to tell you.
I just think it's a lot of networking, you know, Facebook, social media. That's the blessing of it all, just being able to network through there. And, you know, performing at different venues and booking different comics on shows. Like, after you get done performing with them, you get their info, like, give me your number, or let's link up on Facebook and let's talk business. And that's usually what it is, mostly networking, you know. And, like, I don't know if you've been to any of my shows in the past, but I would book a lot of comics. And a lot of people would knock me for it, but at the same time, it helped me being able to meet, like, different comics and network. And those comics, some of those comics that I booked, they would help me as well. They'll, like, bring me to their area.
So they pay it forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That helps out a lot, too.
So tell me, John, how far have you gone to put on shows? I mean, of course, you've probably been out of the Mahoning, Trumbull County area for sure, maybe Pittsburgh, Cleveland, but how far have you traveled, and do you see yourself going further, or is this just a side gig for you?
I'm definitely trying to go further. I think I produced shows in Lorraine, produced some in Canton. You know, I've done a town and country too. We've done a few shows out there. But I performed in I did Texas before, and I performed in Atlanta.
Now, are the people nicer outside Ohio?
I would say they're about the same.
Are they? They heckle you a lot? Because us Ohioans know how to heckle.
I didn't have no bad experiences.
That's good.
Performing out of state.
That's good. That's real good.
But I definitely want to try, because I love what I do. You know, I produce a lot, so I think people look at me more like a producer than a comedian.
Like you put the shows together and...
Yeah. So, like, in the moment, I want to probably be able to start my own production business and company.
Down the road?
Yeah.
Very good.
And then, like, try to statewide a little bit and try to network with different other, like, big-time companies.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. He wants to put his own production company together and his own talent agency together type thing.
Yep.
So, of course, you know, talk with John Huff off the record here and see if he can't get you hooked up somewhere with some shows then.
I need an investor.
He's looking for an investor, too. So, if somebody were just starting out into the world of being a comedian, what's some of the tips and do's and don'ts that you would definitely give these people advice on?
Do's and don'ts, I would say the number one thing about stand-up, my uncle taught me this too when I first started, is he said, don't bash women.
Don't bash women. He's a good man.
Because he said, you know, that's going to be like majority of your fan base. Because even if you go to most comedy shows, you know, it's mostly women in the audience. So
Right.
you don't want to be like that bashful Andrew Dice Clay type. It worked for him, but I don't think it would work for probably no.
Not in this day and age. No.
So no, that's a big no-no there.
Don't bash women. We should have this on screen. Number 1, don't bash women. Number 2.
Number 2, I would say to anybody, just begin and get as much stage time in as you can. Write as much as possible. What helps me too is studying like great comics. And I heard he's not a comic. Michael Jackson. I've heard him on an interview say if you want to become great, you got to follow greats, and that'll make you greater at what you do. And, you know, and
That is wonderful advice.
And I follow a lot of comics too that kind of help elevate me, make me better mentally as a comic, like Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, different other comedians too that I follow.
Now, who do you think that you reflect the most from?
Reflect the most from?
Who do you think is your biggest icon that you?
Oh, definitely Pryor.
Pryor? Really?
Yeah, I follow him very heavy.
Okay.
He's like him and Eddie Murphy are like my top 2 all-time favorites. I like a lot of comedians though, but those are just my number ones right there.
So I could see why you would follow them, and then I could see, you know, eventually why maybe you would want to break into doing some acting. Because let's face it, when you're up on stage, you are acting. You are doing a skit. You're doing a whole different life than what you are when you're off that stage. And you love stages. I saw when we got here earlier, he's like, I got to check out the stage. Joe's stage.
Yeah, I have a stage fetish. When I see a stage, I just got to instantly just get on it. Sniff it out a little bit.
See what's going on with it. We think you'll be pleasantly happy with that.
Yeah, I think it's nice. I like that a lot.
We've had a lot of great talent on that stage so far, and we're going to have a lot of great talent on this stage tomorrow as
Yes,
well.
Definitely.
So, again, what should we expect with tomorrow's show? I mean, we're going to, from one extreme to the other extreme.
You know, mild language. It's going to be very funny because I got some great comics on the show. The show will be about an hour.
Okay.
It's from 7 to 8.
Uh-huh.
That's it. And we're just going to bring the funny. We're going to do the best we can. We're not
Okay.
going to try to offend people purposely.
Now,
We're going to be ready.
offend people purposely. I got that.
We're going to be ready for hecklers. No, I'm just kidding.
That's okay because we're going to have them on Zoom. So I don't know if you've ever done a show that way on Zoom.
Oh no, this would be my first time doing
It can get a little crazy.
on Zoom.
Oh yeah, it can get a lot crazy because you got people laughing and heckling and talking too. So they're going to be talking to you, and you'll be able to talk back, and it's
Well,
going
it
to be
wouldn't
interesting.
It wouldn't be my first time dealing with a crazy audience.
No?
I'm pretty experienced with it.
Okay. Okay. So how long have you been doing comedy?
About 8 years now.
8 years. Okay. Okay. So it's been good to you.
Yeah, it's been very good. I've had some ups and downs with it. It's just like any other job, though.
Right.
You know, it's got its cuts, it's got its scratches, but you know, when you love something, you got to stick to it.
Right.
You know, no matter what.
Right.
You know, those cuts and scratches that just makes you better.
And it makes you heal,
Yep.
and it makes you go forward.
Yeah, show business is just. I love show business, but you know, it can be a little rocky.
It can be
sometimes.
rocky. It can be rocky, but we've had a lot of great talent come out of the Youngstown area that have made it big. So
Yeah.
your number may be on that sidewalk or star one of these days. You never
I'm
know.
hoping.
You never know.
I'm praying on it.
So, other than having a comedy show, I'm sure comedy is not going to give you a full-time salary unless you really made it big in the area, correct? So, of course, other people have other part-time jobs and things that they have to do, and you got a couple part-time jobs yourself that you're doing.
Yeah,
So,
part-time jobs.
I mean, I wonder, is it tough to get comedians because they do have other commitments, or, you know, is it they drop what they're doing with the other job? I got to go do this.
Well, what's so cool about, because I work 2 jobs outside of comedy, so what's cool about these jobs is they work on my schedule. They know what I do, so I tell them, like, I need to request this, that, but you got to request it off, you know,
Way
any
in
other job,
advance.
like 2 weeks in advance. Don't do it at the last minute. They be like, and that makes sense. Like, why would I do that at the last minute when I knew I was going to perform this day, but then try to take off that exact day? That day, like, no, that don't make sense. You should have took it off 2 weeks in advance. And my jobs are real cool like that. Like,
That's good.
I'll tell them. Probably like sometimes I do it in a month in advance too. Like, I need this day off because I got out of town gig. And they're like, okay, I'll give it to you off. You know, that's the best part about a lot
What
of
you
jobs.
do, yeah.
A lot of jobs won't do that though. A lot of jobs they try to like keep you prisoner. That's why there's a lot of jobs that they wanted me, but it's like I tell them like I take off a lot because I have a career too of what I'm trying to do,
Right, right.
and a lot of them just be like, no, we need you. Or if they need you that day, they need you that day, and I tell them I can't work it. So it doesn't really work out too well.
And you've got understanding places that you're working at, so, and that just makes it all the better.
Yeah, that's the best part of it.
So you're in a good place right now then.
Oh yeah, I'm in a great place.
Good,
I can agree with
good.
that.
That's awesome. Again, is there any other thing that we need to tell somebody who's breaking into the business? We got up to 2. Don't make fun of women. Okay, that was number 1. I remember that one the best. And the second one?
Was follow like people that you like. Follow the greats.
Follow the greats.
People that you like, your favorites. Like what helped me was following
Pryor Murphy.
Red Fox.
Mm-hmm.
Random comics that I love, like Bernie Mac. He was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie Griffin.
Mm-hmm.
When you follow greats, you become greater. So that helps me
Okay.
elevate a lot.
And your third?
Third, I say get as much stage time in as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's like 5 minutes, just get up there and do it. You know, that exposure is everything when people see you. And another thing I would say is don't worry about the money too much when you first start out, because
Because the money's not there at first.
Yeah,
You
it
have to grow
eventually-
with the money.
yeah, it eventually comes with the territory. But you know, I think the money's good, but the exposure is just as good too, because you may go up on stage and then somebody in that audience maybe is somebody, maybe like an agent or HBO agent or something that may see you.
Or Netflix.
Yeah, somebody,
Uh-huh.
somebody that's big time in the audience.
Uh-huh.
And if they take a liking to you, then they're like, okay, I want to mess with him. I want to.
You never know who's in that audience.
Yeah.
You never know.
And people be missing like their blessings because they saw I ain't getting on stage. That's how I'm getting paid. I'm like,
Right. Things happen for. Yes, Joe's taking pictures. We're all watching.
Like a ninja.
We're gonna click.
and networking is very important too when you starting out with stand-up, like working with different comics, going on their stages. Even if you're not like on the show, still go just to support. That'll help you network with different comics, and then somebody
You never know who you're gonna run elbows with.
Yeah,
You know.
exactly.
You never know.
never know, and you like that person. You may talk to that person, say, "I'm a stand-up comedian too," and then they may ask you right there, like, "Oh, I got this show going tonight. You want to do a couple minutes?" You know, and that may change your life forever. Like,
That very well could be getting in the right
and then
hands.
they'll probably book you for the next show, and then you'll have some money. You know?
So it's not always the money, but it's the experience behind it and who you can meet along the way,
Yeah, that
and who's going to
exposure.
help it pay it forward.
Yep, that exposure and that networking is everything.
Networking is very important. Now, being out and doing these different shows and being in different places, have you met the upper comedians? Is there anybody famous that you've met that you've just like, wow, I can't believe I just met so and so?
I had a lot of like offerings to open up for big time comics, but a lot of them I had to turn down for personal reasons. One lady I did open up for, I was kind of amazed to work with her. Was I don't know if you know Dominique. I opened up for her at Mojo's Comedy
Okay,
Cellar
okay.
because I watched her on TV a lot, and I'm like, wow, I get to work with her.
And you did. So you kind of put that out there in the universe, and it came back and answered you, huh?
I don't know, some comics I kind of, the big time comics. I worked with another guy too. He's big time. His name is Isaiah Kelly. He's a young guy. I think he's like a little younger than me, but he's been performing on TV since he was like 9, 10 with his father.
Okay.
And I got to work with him in Akron. I was a little starstruck by him.
Yeah? Were you tongue-tied and like tripping over your own words?
Because I grew up watching him too. I was watching him perform since he was a kid. Then I got to work with him. I'm like, man, this is amazing. And he was a cool guy too.
Yeah?
Very cool. As soon as he walked in, he like shook all the comics' hands.
Nice.
And a lot of comics, if you meet them, they can be a little odd acting sometimes, very uppity. But he wasn't. He was like cool, down to earth. And I've had some good opportunities.
And he made obviously he made an impression on you, so
Yeah, because we still talk to this day on
that's nice.
Facebook, and I got a chance to also work with a R&B singer. He used to be on Bad Boy Records with Puff Daddy.
Okay.
His name was Carl Thomas.
Okay.
I got a chance to work with. I got a chance to be one of the open comedians for his show.
Nice.
It didn't
Very
go
nice.
so good for me, but
No? Did you get booed off the stage?
kind of.
No, you did not. What happened?
Oh, it's such a long story. But let's just say it was.
It was an eye-opening
It was a good-
experience,
It
huh?
was a good show. It was me and 4 other comics. It was a couple other comics that were on the show that wasn't originally on the show, but they were on it. And then Carl Thomas went at the end. But before they threw the comics up, they had like a band. At the beginning, I think they're called the Unit Band.
Okay.
And they went up first, and they did about an hour. And I don't know if you ran bar shows, but it's really bad. Like when you book like comedians and musicians together, and you throw the musicians up first, and then throw the comics up after.
Yeah, because everybody's in the party mode.
Yeah, because
They don't want to slow down the motion, yeah.
And I admit, I'm the same way. Like if it's a good band going on, and they've been up for a minute, I don't want to hear no jokes after.
Right.
You always want to throw the comedians on prior to that.
Get the attention of the crowd.
Because now the comics, it's over for us. Like we're just up there, just wasting our breath now. Because everybody's still dancing, everybody's still
Having a good time.
in party mode. Mm-hmm. And I was the first comic they threw up, and I just couldn't get them.
Right.
They were just like, all right, I want to see the band again. Or I want to see Carl Thomas.
Right. Right.
They didn't really want to see the comics after that. And one guy was actually heckled me. He was just throwing out mean stuff at me, and that kind of almost turned into an altercation.
Get out. Oh my gosh. See, that's why I don't think that I can do it. I honest to gosh don't think I can get up there, and I'm too soft-spoken and I'm too soft-hearted. So if somebody were to say something, I'd be like, I think I would freeze up there and just go totally blank. I would look at the crowd and go, oh, well, what do I say after this? Or how do I counteract? I mean, it takes a talent to be able to counteract something.
Yeah, it definitely takes a backbone and heart.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, and like you said, don't make fun of women, but probably somebody's counteraction would be make fun of his wife or his girlfriend or something. I mean, something just to make him mad. So then he's going to spark something else at you, and then it's on, and the dukes are up. You know, I couldn't do that. I couldn't. So I give you guys kudos for keeping your cool up on stage as well.
Oh yeah, you always gotta stay professional no matter what.
Yeah, but I couldn't.
That night for me it was just
was bad.
Yeah,
It was a bad night.
I kind of lost that touch that night.
Well, you know what? Sometimes you get pushed so far, and you know.
The guy wasn't really heckling though. He was just mean and just throwing out mean stuff at me, and it was bad. And,
Is there ever a time you went up on stage, or any of your other comedians went up on stage, and you just completely drew a blank and you just lost where you were at? You're thinking, oh, what's the next thing I was supposed to say? What's
Oh,
the
yeah.
next joke? How do you recover from that?
I don't know how to recover from it. It's just, I guess, I just get off the stage and say, look, thank you and good night. If I choke up like that, I've done
Next.
that. I've done that before. And,
Have you?
You know, I've had a lot of the club owners say, "How come you didn't do your full time?" I literally went blank. That's how I was when I first started, though. But after a while, I pretty much remember all my jokes because I've been doing it for so long. So most of the jokes I do, I don't even have to rehearse them anymore. I just know them up front.
So give us a joke. Just throw one out there.
Throwing out there.
Here we go. And that blank came over the face.
I was about to say the blank. I went blank right now. I just can't do it on the spot. People ask me.
See, you have to be in your mood, in your
Yeah.
grooved, so to
Yes.
speak. But yeah, so no, I'm looking really, really forward to having you guys coming out tomorrow.
We look forward to coming. I really appreciate you guys having us too.
Like I said, we've got one coming up September, of course, tomorrow, September 11th, and another one September 25th.
Yeah, one next week too with Quinn.
Yep. We do.
Yeah, he's a good friend of mine too. Shout out to him.
Quinn Patterson?
Yeah, Quinn Patterson.
Yep, Quinn
I
Patterson.
performed with him at the Funny Farm last year. Great guy. So you're gonna enjoy that one too.
He's a good dude. He's a real good dude. So we're excited. We're excited to bring all of you guys to town, and we want to put some money in your pocket. So I know Joe is over in the corner of the room, and one more time, Joe, if we want to talk about the GoFundMe account and how they can start today, right now, putting money, right, Joe? The GoFundMe. We were going to talk about the GoFundMe and how they can, even today, they can go and they can start, putting money into bringing the comedians up on stage. So you can actually watch it also here at Youngstown Studio. Just go on Facebook and watch us. Or if you want to hang on out at Town and Country in Newcastle, they can watch the show, simulcast the show there as well. So, yeah, Joe, what I was trying to tell them was that we still have the GoFundMe that is up, and I was trying to give them the address of where they can find it, and everything can be watched right here at Youngstown Studio. And the GoFundMe, is there a...
There's a link on the event.
There's a link on the... That's right.
Yep,
There's a
I
link on the
posted it
event.
into the chat here too.
So see, just follow Joe's cues, because Joe knows.
And I'll be sure to share it too on my page so people can. Look
Yes,
at my page.
share it on your page. Folks, if you can out there, share it on your pages as well. It's gonna be an interesting show. I will say that, because you're so used to having that live audience there, and now that you're gonna have them on a big screen Zoom, and you see all the TVs around here, so it's gonna be exciting to see how this all comes down. But it's gonna because Joe knows. 'Cause
I'm
that's
looking
what we
forward to
have
it.
Joe here for, because Joe's done all of this.
Joe knows.
So Joe's amazing.
That should be the slogan now. Joe knows.
Joe knows. And you miss a minute, you miss a lot.
Do you
So-
usually enjoy yourselves when you go to comedy shows? Do you have you ever had like a bad experience with a comedian? Has somebody said something to you? Say something to you, like from the stage or?
Quite honestly, I never sit up front. I usually sit in the
sit in
back.
the back.
Yeah, because I don't want heckled. I don't want him making fun of me or she.
I experienced that a lot too. Like I would bring like some of my friends down to the show, and they always sit like way in the back. So
Yeah,
way in the back.
we're not dumb.
I said, "Wait."
We're not
I
dumb.
said I ain't gonna clown you.
No, we don't want to be show prep. No. No,
I
so.
usually don't go at the audience unless they come at me first.
Oh, really? Like I said, how do you know how far to go heckling somebody when somebody's up on stage and they got it out for you, and you're like, I'm going to have trouble with this one. I know I'm going to have trouble through the whole show with this one. But how do you keep your cool? How do you know how far you can, walk the line before you're going overboard? And you don't want to insult anybody. Like you said, we're not here to insult. We're not here to upset anyone.
Oh, you just gotta stay professional. Mm-hmm. That's all there is to it. Like if I see somebody in the audience and they got on like a shirt that kind of stands out, like I would probably say, man, what kind of shirt you got on? Or,
Right.
but I'm never like, I've seen a lot of comedians and I kind of dislike when comedians do that. They would like look at somebody in the audience and say something real foul to me.
Right.
Like I've had one comedian on the show. He just he said something about a lady in the audience. He said, "Look at this B word right here." I'm like, "No, you don't do that." Especially on my show, because I can get bad reviews and lose business off that.
Yes, you can. But and nowadays, everybody's so cranky. Everybody's been so cooped up with this COVID, and everybody's just ready to get out and have a good time. But I'm so tired of cranky people. Keep your crankiness at home, But yeah, I give you guys a lot of support. I give you guys a lot of love tomorrow, because it's going to be an interesting show. It's going to be an hour show, and like we said, it's going to be PG-13. So we're looking forward to you guys coming here tomorrow. And again, we're going to have now the comedians that we're having on September 25th. Of course, it's going to be on a Friday. It's from 7 to 8. Same thing with the GoFundMe, all that. Who's the other comedians off the top of your head that we're bringing?
I know we got Will Hopkins is back on that show.
Will Hopkins.
And Michael Copenhaver.
Michael Copenhaver, yes.
Yeah, he's going to be on that one too. And I got Nakia Stewart from, she's from Feral PA.
Okay.
She'll be here. She's very funny. We have Mike Meadows from Mansfield. He's going to be here. And a lot of them I can't even remember, honestly.
There's quite a bit. There's like 7 or 8 that are coming on the 25th.
It's hard to keep up when you like booking so many shows, like you just forget.
Yeah.
That's why I always do those group texts on Facebook just to kind of keep me up. Oh, Andrew Lucas is on that show too.
Okay.
He's from the Youngstown area. He'll be here.
Okay.
And I know it's a few, like 2 more on there. I think Steve Anderson's supposed to be on there.
Okay. So that's going to be an exciting show as well, but concentrating on tomorrow's show, like I said, I can't wait for you guys to come on out. And if you want to be part of the Zoom, we'll have a way for you on the link that people can be part of the studio audience as well. So Zoom-wise. So like I said, I mean, I'm looking forward to you guys coming out. I'm looking forward to a good show.
Yeah, it's going to be the first one, so...
It's going to be
I'm
exciting.
looking forward to being kind of broke in.
Yeah. Who would have thought that we could do this with people sitting at home on their couch watching you guys? So it's going to be fun. I can't wait to see, all of you guys out here tomorrow as well. And I think you guys are just as funny on stage as you are off stage. I mean, even talking with you before we had gone on, Justin was prior to us. I learned a lot about you. I learned a lot from you, and I'm really, really hoping that you get everything that you're looking to do forward wise. Yes, I mean, I really I'm excited for you to see where your career. You're a nice guy, and we'll see what happens down the road for you.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely, and thank you so much for coming on and explaining what it's like to be a comedian, and the ups, the downs, things to expect, not to expect, sharing a little bit of your life there, and your family life as well. So
That's my pleasure. You're very welcome.
Now, coming up on Tuesday, we're welcoming Pamela Joy. She's coming to the Youngstown studio. She's going to be talking about seizures and the effects of seizures and what a person goes through, and some things you're going to be highly, highly surprised about. So can't wait to talk with her as well. I'm Justine Thomas. Thanks for watching. And again, if you miss a minute, you miss a lot here. We'll see you next week.